The porch lights flickered. The digital eyes went blind. And just like that, Hollywood, and really the entire nation, had a terrifying new obsession.
It is genuinely the stuff of nightmares, honestly.
It really is. Welcome to Starsco Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And this deep dive is going to take us to some really dark places today.
Yeah, we are unpacking the investigation at Nancy Guthrie's home that has everyone asking questions. This is a story that started as a chilling local mystery and just exploded into a massive media circus.
Right, because we are talking about the mother of Today's Show co-anchor Savannah Guthrie. I mean, true pop culture royalty.
Exactly. And our mission for you today is to cut through all the noise. We've spent the week poring over official FBI press releases, detailed timelines from PBS News, local Arizona reports, and deep Snopes fact checks. We want to look at the chilling evidence, the friction between the agencies, and this insane web of misinformation.
It's a lot to unpack. Where do we even start?
I think we have to start with the digital breadcrumbs. Because the timeline of the night she vanished, January 31st, 2026, is the foundation of everything law enforcement knows.
Okay, lay it out for us. What actually happened that night?
So Nancy is 84 years old. She takes an Uber to her daughter Annie's house for dinner. Everything is totally normal, just a regular Saturday evening.
Right, just family time.
Yeah. And then at 9:50 p.m., her son-in-law, Tommaso Cioni, drops her back at her home in the Catalina Foothills of Arizona. He actually sits there and physically watches the garage door close behind her.
Oh, wow. So he literally saw her secure the house.
He did. And that is the very last time anyone definitively saw Nancy Guthrie.
God, that gives me chills. Just the finality of it.
Right. And then we get into the early hours of Sunday morning, and the timeline gets incredibly eerie. Authorities released this super specific technological sequence. At 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera at Nancy's home is just disconnected.
Like unplugged or jammed?
Just knocked offline completely. And then, 25 minutes later, at 2:12 a.m., motion is detected by the camera's software.
Wait, hold on. How does the software detect motion if the camera was disconnected?
That is the crazy part. So she didn't even have an active subscription for video storage, right? But the FBI worked with Google to pull data from their back-end servers. Because even if you aren't paying for cloud storage, the hardware still acts like a tripwire.
Oh, I see. So it doesn't save the video, but it still sends a tiny ping saying, hey, something moved.
Exactly. A microscopic packet of residual data saying motion was triggered at 2:12 a.m.
That is wild. I mean, it's like a ghost in the machine.
Yeah, but it gets even wilder. And this is the detail that I just cannot wrap my head around. At 2:28 a.m., Nancy's pacemaker app disconnects from her phone.
Her pacemaker? Wait, what?
Yes, her medical pacemaker. It completely severs its connection, and a bedside monitor misses its scheduled transmission.
That's horrifying. But also, why would an intruder mess with a medical app? Like, if you're robbing a house, you grab the TV, you grab the jewelry, you don't hack a pacemaker.
Right, and that's the thing, they didn't hack it. It's about proximity. Modern pacemakers use a low-energy Bluetooth signal to constantly talk to a smartphone or a bedside monitor.
Oh, I get it. And Bluetooth only goes so far.
Exactly. It only has a range of about 30 feet.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So when her family discovers her missing the next day because she didn't log on to a church live stream, they find her phone still in the house. Her daily survival medications are just sitting there.
So if the phone is there, but the connection drops at exactly 2:28 a.m.
It means Nancy herself and the device inside her chest was physically removed from that 30-foot radius at that exact minute.
That is just so incredibly precise. It's like a calculated digital blackout.
That's exactly what it is. And we know she didn't just wander off because investigators found a trail of blood on the front porch, which was later confirmed by DNA to be Nancy's.
Oh, that breaks my heart. And what about the intruder? Do they have any idea who this was?
They do, actually. So on February 10th, the FBI released some recovered footage. It shows a masked individual, about 5'9" to 5'10", average build, sporting a black mustache.
Okay, so they have a visual. What were they doing in the footage?
It's so creepy. They have a 25-liter Ozark Trail backpack.
Yeah.
And the behavior is just chillingly calm. They're holding a flashlight in their mouths and using prairie brush, like literally torn from a nearby potted plant, to physically cover the camera lens.
Seriously, just walking around with a mouthful of flashlight covering cameras with a bush?
Yeah. And they also appear to have a gun in a holster over their crotch.
Okay, so this guy was fully armed and totally prepared.
Right. And Given that the intruder seemingly knew where the cameras were and targeted her digital devices, does this point to a highly premeditated abduction rather than, like, a crime of opportunity?
Oh, absolutely. The precision required to execute a complete digital wipeout, extract an 84-year-old woman, and vanish into the night. That strongly points away from a random break-in. They knew exactly what they were doing.
But the motive is where things take a massive left turn. And that's not even the wildest part of this whole case.
Right, because usually you break in to steal stuff, but they took Nancy.
They took Nancy.
Yeah.
And then came the ransom demands.
Oh, yeah. This part is just so baffling to me.
It really is. Because the ransom notes weren't sent to the family. They were sent directly to media outlets.
Wait, what? Who kidnaps someone and emails the news instead of the family?
I know. KOLD TV in Tucson gets an email. And then TMZ, like the massive Hollywood tabloid site, reports receiving a note demanding millions of dollars in Bitcoin.
TMZ, that is just, it turns a family tragedy into a literal media circus instantly.
Exactly. TMZ's founder, Harvey Levin, even went public saying he received a letter that claimed the family would have, quote, no way of contacting the abductor.
That defies every standard kidnapping playbook I've ever heard of. Usually, perpetrators want a direct, secure, secret line of communication with the family, right? They want to negotiate a payout without the cops knowing.
Right, but by going to TMZ, they are practically begging for a spectacle.
They are intentionally weaponizing public attention, but doesn't that make it harder to actually get away with the money? Like, they demanded Bitcoin. People think Bitcoin is this invisible ghost currency, but it's not.
It's totally not. Everything is on a public blockchain.
Yeah.
Anyone can see the transactions.
Exactly. The moment you try to convert that Bitcoin into actual cash at an exchange, you leave a massive digital trail, and federal authorities are really, really good at tracking that.
So what does that say about the kidnappers?
It suggests they either severely misunderstand digital forensics or, and this is almost scarier, their primary motive isn't actually a straightforward financial payout.
Oh, wow. Like it's about control or psychological torture? Or just a misguided belief that immense public pressure would force Savannah Guthrie and her family to just pay blindly.
And speaking of public pressure, whenever you create a spectacle like this, you open the door for the worst kind of opportunists.
Oh, the hoaxer.
Yes. A man in California was actually arrested on federal charges for posing as the abductor to extort the family. He had absolutely nothing to do with the actual kidnapping.
That requires such a stunning lack of empathy. Like, how broken do you have to be to do that?
It's disgusting. And law enforcement catches hoaxers like that by tracing their digital footprints, IP addresses, device identifiers. It's a huge contrast against the actual abductor who managed to operate invisibly.
And in the meantime, it just inflicts unimaginable collateral damage on the family. You can't even fathom the agony for Savannah Guthrie during all of this.
I really can't. She's a staple of morning television. People wake up to her every day.
And she had to completely pause all her NBC duties. She missed covering the Winter Olympics. She was just posting videos directly to social media, begging for proof of life.
Because the abductor refused to establish a secured line, right? She was forced to negotiate in public.
Literally. On February 7th, she looked right into a camera and told the abductors, quote, "We will pay."
God, that is so haunting.
The family offered a $1 million reward. The FBI threw in $50,000. Savannah and her family even donated $500,000 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
They were just desperate for any sort of leverage or goodwill.
By late March, Savannah actually returned to the Today Show. She did this incredibly heartbreaking interview with Hoda Kotb.
I watched that. It was so raw and so difficult to watch.
But what you didn't see on camera were the strict off-air protocols the producers had to institute.
Oh, right, because it's live television.
Exactly. If a breaking news alert came across the wire that, God forbid, a body was found, the control room had an emergency system to immediately sequester her.
Wow.
Yeah, they had to ensure she wouldn't learn about a tragedy regarding her own mother while sitting under studio lights on national television.
That highlights the immense, unprecedented pressure surrounding this case. Millions of dollars on the line, national morning shows involved, and the entire country is watching.
If you're loving these Hollywood twists and true pop culture deep dives, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead, and you really don't want to miss how this investigation unfolds.
Yeah, definitely hit that subscribe button, because the way this investigation was handled is, well, it's pretty shocking.
It really is. That sheer scale of public attention created an unbearable pressure cooker for law enforcement. And that leads directly to the turf wars.
Right. Because when everyone is watching, no one wants to be the one messing up.
Exactly. There were massive search efforts. We're talking SWAT teams, drones, sniffer dogs. They ran operations all over.
Didn't they search a house in Rio Rico?
Yes, about 60 miles south. They detained a person of interest, but he was completely cleared. They also seized a gray Range Rover outside a Culver's restaurant, just 2 miles from Nancy's house.
Oh, I remember that. People thought they had found the getaway car.
They thought so. The FBI even found a pair of gloves matching the suspect's description.
But that turned out to be a dead end, right?
Total false positive. The DNA on those gloves traced back to a local restaurant worker. Nothing to do with the case.
That must be so frustrating for the investigators.
Well, as these dead ends piled up, the behind-the-scenes tension exploded into public view. FBI Director Kash Patel actually went on a podcast and publicly criticized the local sheriff, Chris Nanos.
Wow. It is so highly unusual for an FBI director to air grievances like that during an active, high-profile kidnapping. What exactly was he claiming?
Patel claimed that the FBI was locked out of the investigation for the first 48 to 96 critical hours. He also specifically targeted the sheriff's use of a private DNA lab instead of sending the evidence to the FBI's specialized facility in Quantico.
Okay, I have to ask, why would a local sheriff choose a private lab over Quantico? Like, what is the actual mechanical difference there?
It basically comes down to a calculation of speed versus depth. The FBI's Quantico lab possesses proprietary cutting-edge techniques for extracting profiles from highly degraded DNA.
Like a microscopic skin cell on a piece of prairie brush.
Exactly. But because it is a national facility, it has a massive backlog. A local private lab might promise a 48-hour turnaround for a standard profile, but they might lack the deep forensic capability of the federal government.
So it's a gamble. Do you want it fast or do you want it thorough?
Right. And Sheriff Nanos fiercely denied Patel's claims. His department put out a statement saying an FBI task force member was on the scene the very first night and there was no delay.
We obviously have to remain completely impartial here. We are just looking at what both sides are claiming, but it's just wild to see this play out in public.
It is. And the drama didn't even stop with the FBI. The Pima County supervisors actually demanded that Sheriff Nanos resign.
Wait, over the Guthrie case?
No, that's the craziest part. They cited totally unrelated perjury allegations regarding his past suspension records from the El Paso Police Department.
Oh my gosh, from when?
From the 1980s.
You have got to be kidding me.
I am not. Decades-old records involving allegations of unnecessary violence and tardiness. They gave him an ultimatum to step down exactly by the 100-day mark of Nancy's disappearance. Nanos' attorney said it was just a misunderstanding during a deposition, not perjury.
But look at the reality of how investigations work. When you have the FBI director publicly feuding with the local sheriff and local politicians weaponizing decades-old records to oust him, how does that bureaucratic chaos impact the actual boots-on-the-ground search for an 84-year-old woman?
It inherently fractures the focus.
Yeah.
Every hour spent drafting press releases to defend a department's reputation is an hour not spent analyzing cellular tower dumps or tracking financial anomalies.
And it completely erodes public trust. The FBI was offering a $50,000 reward, but if the community believed the agencies are just fighting each other, they are way less likely to come forward with vital tips.
Exactly. And later in the show, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming, which is what happens when the public decides to take the investigation into their own hands.
Oh, the misinformation machine. It is so toxic.
It is. Because while the cops are fighting each other, there is this massive void of solid answers. And that void was quickly filled by this insane wave of public misinformation.
The attention economy completely derailed the focus of the public. When an algorithmic void exists in a high-profile mystery, bad actors are going to flood that void. They aren't trying to inform anyone. They are just trying to hack the algorithm for clicks.
Right. And the first major disruption came from a true crime live streamer.
Oh, I remember this guy.
Yeah. This guy is out walking in a desert wash about 5 miles from the Guthrie home. He's live streaming his amateur search to his followers, and he finds a bone.
And of course, he broadcasts it instantly.
He broadcasts it, and it causes an absolute media frenzy. People were convinced he just cracked the case.
Until the actual expert stepped in.
Yeah, the police and anthropologists examined the bone and confirmed it was at least 50 years old.
Yeah.
It was likely a prehistoric or Native American artifact.
So absolutely zero criminal relevance whatsoever.
None. But while that was just one guy with a camera playing detective, the AI-generated fake news was so much more insidious.
This part is terrifying to me.
Social media was suddenly flooded with these highly produced, AI-narrated videos, and they confidently claimed that Nancy's body had been found floating in a pond in the Catalina Foothills.
You can really think of the current attention economy as a digital gold rush. These content creators aren't panning for facts, they are mass producing counterfeit nuggets.
Counterfeit nuggets, I like that.
They use AI to generate scripts and voiceovers that mimic the authoritative cadence of real news anchors. They know that a title claiming a breaking update will generate millions of views before the platform catches on, and millions of views translate directly into ad revenue.
It's all about the money. Thankfully, Snopes dismantled these videos, and the way they did it is fascinating.
What did they find?
They broke the footage down frame by frame. These creators were taking video clips from entirely unrelated real-life tragedies and just stitching them together.
Ugh, that is so disrespectful.
It is. They used a clip of police handling a tarp from the recovery of rapper Lil Jon's son in Atlanta. They spliced in footage from a search operation in Lake Michigan. They even used visuals from a deadly New Year's Day ski resort fire in Switzerland.
It is an incredibly dark manipulation. And the real-world consequence is that law enforcement agencies who are already stretched incredibly thin have to divert personnel to monitor social media.
Right, they have to field calls from panicked citizens and officially debunk these hoaxes.
It actively paralyzes real police work.
And that interference bled directly into the physical world, too. You have this paradox where the police need the public's eyes and ears, but then you get reports of civilian searchers contaminating evidence.
By discarding their own rubber gloves in the desert.
Yes. People were going out to help, wearing latex and rubber gloves, and then just leaving them on the ground.
Which is completely catastrophic for a forensic timeline.
Because the police don't know who dropped the glove. They have footage of an intruder wearing gloves. So if an investigator finds a rubber glove in the desert, they have to bag it, preserve the chain of custody, and send it to a lab.
Maybe that private lab we talked about.
Exactly. And they run a full DNA profile. It takes days or weeks, consumes massive resources, only to find out the DNA belongs to, like, an accountant who is out playing true crime detective on his day off.
It is the ultimate nightmare scenario for an investigator. You are fighting the clock, you are fighting interagency politics, and you're fighting an army of well-meaning but destructive civilians, all while chasing a ghost.
It really is. So let's pull all this together. Despite the doorbell cameras, the motion sensors, and the intimate tracking of pacemaker apps.
Despite millions of dollars in rewards and the combined might of local sheriffs and the FBI.
A vulnerable 84-year-old woman was stolen from her home, and she remains missing.
It is a profound tragedy. It just exposes the fragile limits of our technology and the vulnerabilities of our institutions when they are confronted with a highly calculated act.
It does. And it leaves you with a really chilling thought to explore on your own. We live in an era where every single step we take is seemingly recorded by smart devices, and our very heartbeats are monitored by cloud-connected apps.
We think we are so safe.
But in the face of all that surveillance, how is it possible for someone to orchestrate a complete digital blackout and vanish without a trace? What does this deeply unsettling case actually reveal about the illusion of our own everyday security?
It is definitely something that will keep you up at night.
It really will. You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.